Thank you, everyone. So happy to be here today. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Erica. I'm from Enjoy Erica Art Studio. And today we're going to be working with this amazing female artist. Her name is Sonia Delaunay. She has a specific style called Orphism, and it focuses a lot on circles. And I just wanted to tell you a couple of facts about what makes her so important in the art world. Sonia Delaunay was a pioneer of abstract art and was one of the first artists to embrace the movement. She was a key figure in the development of Orphism movement, which focused on the use of color and light in art. Delaunay was a master of color theory, and her use of vibrant colors and bold geometric shapes has influenced generations of artists. So I know New York Fashion Week just happened, and you can still see a lot of her style in modern textile and fashion work. She was also a successful designer, creating clothing, textiles, and costumes that were celebrated for their innovative use of color and pattern. Delaunay was a trailblazer for female artists, breaking down barriers and paving the way for future generations of women in arts. She was a champion of collaboration and worked closely with her husband, the artist Robert Delaunay, on many projects. She was celebrated internationally with her exhibitions of her art and designs held in major museums and galleries around the world. She was a visionary artist who pushed the boundaries of traditional art forms and explored new ways of expressing herself. And her contributions to the art world have been recognized with numerous honors and awards, including the Legion of Honor and the Order of the British Empire. So this is what we're working on today. Like I said, the use of circles and the depiction of movement using color and shapes. So very simple, very colorful, very easy to draw, and you can get very creative with this. So if you don't see a color that you like on here and you want to use your favorite colors, feel free to do so. This is just an inspiration. I always call them inspirations. So you don't have to do exactly how, but in the spirit of her design, you definitely want to have some circles in here and some movement that creates lines that create movement. So let's get started. We have our piece here. We're going to go ahead and start sketching. If you have something that you can easily trace, I have a circle handy here. You can go ahead and find something circle, whether it's the bottom of your water cup, just be very careful. If you have any other kind of circle to kind of help along, you can do that. I'm just going to use this one I have on hand, and it's about on the left side. It's placed about halfway down. So our first circle that we're going to draw is about halfway down and to the left of the center of the page. So we're going to get started with that. And just easily trace a circle. If you can't trace a circle, that's okay. Just when you sketch your circle, try short strokes versus trying to draw the whole circle at once. The short strokes with curves really help you kind of gauge how to draw your circle better than just trying in one shot. And then with this second circle here at the bottom, it's located on the right hand of the page towards kind of touching the bottom of the page towards the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and take my circle and kind of trace the same. So those are kind of our two main focuses, two main shapes, and then everything kind of has movement around it. So we're just going to get started using curved lines, straight and angled lines, and we're going to design these patterns. Fairly simple. So the easiest one to start doing is this little corner one here. So I'm just going to take a little corner sketch. And now I'm going to say it's about 4 fingers down. So about 4 fingers length down. I'm going to put a little dot here on the right side. And I'm going to come across, and about halfway, I'm going to place another dot. So we have this kind of situation that there's a dot coming down about 4 fingers and a dot here. So this is going to represent a curve coming this way. So I'm just going to draw a straight line from the top now. It's about 4 fingers down and about a little bit to the left of the center, halfway. And then we're going to take a short little stroke and curve it down until it comes down off the page, just like so. So that just represents this little curve here. So we're coming down, curving across, and then a little off center from this corner, I'm just going to draw a little straight line. So off center from this triangle to the left of the center, I'm just going to sketch with a short line. And now I'm going to come to the left side here. I'm going to curve this corner out, just like so. And my starting point is going to be right where I started that curve. And I'm going to do short strokes again. And my ending point is going to be right here where this line is. So we have 2 little sections here. And now from our inspiration, we can see this dot is a little bit to the left. We're going to try making this line that goes up. So the starting point would be right here where these 2 lines meet. So we did a short corner. We sketched it touching to this top line. And now we're having a little dot to the left of this first straight line. And the starting point is going to be also right here. And just short strokes connecting the 2 dots here, just like so. And then we're going to have this line connect here. Just going to have it go straighter, just like that. And now we're just going to work our way down from this dot, a couple of little sketches down. And then we're kind of going to make this little halo around the circle. So I'm going to start to the left of the circle and with some short strokes, kind of come around and create another curve line that's the similar style curve as the circle on the page. So just come around and follow the curve of the circle that's already on the page. And we're going to do this line coming off on the side. So short strokes. Again. Let's just take a good look at what we've done so far. Lots of lines, lots of movements, lots of sections. So we have these 2 with short curves coming off the page. We have 2 parallel lines working towards the circle. We have this little crescent formed around this first circle we drew to kind of catch up for what we've done so far. Now the hardest part would be all these lines and sketching it in. And the fun part comes when we put the color in. So let's continue. we're halfway done. So now we're going to do a right angle. So kind of at the top of where this crescent starts, we're just going to make a complete right angle. So it's going to stop about here. So I'm about an inch from this line. I'm going to adjust it so that when I draw, sketch straight across, it'll make a right angle. Some short lines, kind of gauge, doesn't have to be perfect. And we're just going to come the short lines and create just a simple right angle. And now I'm going to come here to this bottom part of the circle and draw a curved line going around this circle that's already here. I'm going to bring this line down so it touches. And then we'll draw kind of like a mountain or a pyramid going off that line. So we did our right angle, we did a curved line, we drew a little pyramid off to the side, and we can draw a line right there. So what these curved lines are doing, it's giving that feeling of that there's movement happening. So now I'll bring this line down to my circle. So this little mountain is going to come down a bit here. And we'll have this line come over. So we're creating little sections. And it doesn't have to be exactly as I drew it, but like I said, you want to have some angled lines, some curved lines, and to make it into the style that Sonia would work in. So I'm going to bring this and all the way across. And from our inspiration towards the bottom of this circle, I'm just going to draw, looks like a slide almost, an angled line. And a straight line touching the circle, coming down. And some short lines breaking this into pieces. And so this is our inspiration. This is what we were able to create. Don't be shy to use your eraser. If it's not exactly how you'd like it, feel free to change. And then we're going to get started mixing our colors. So you definitely want to consider having some complementary cool colors next to each other, as well as having some opposite colors next to each other. She definitely played a lot with color. So we're going to get started. Top left. And you want to go ahead and use a medium-sized brush. So with our colors, after you're done with our sketch, just want to give you guys a little chance to see the lines once more. Don't want to pull it up too close. Let's see if I can. Okay. Yep, just to see the lines once more. Definitely a medium-sized flat brush. And then the colors that I'm choosing today, I have some white, some pink. If you don't have pink, you can always mix some red and white. I have some black or dark gray if you have is fine. I have some purple, some light green. I have varying shades of blue, but you can use just regular blue and use the white or black to mix it to your liking. And I have some yellow as well. And so we're going to get started working on shades that are similar to our inspiration. So I'm going to get started on this left corner here. It's a gray color, so it's going to start out with a little bit of white. I'm going to find an empty spot on my palette, take a little chunk of this white, and slightly touch into the dark color and create a gray. And if you're still trying to keep up with the lines, like I said, some curved lines, some perpendicular lines, some angles will get you well on your way to creating a similar image. So I'm going to start up at this left-hand corner, filling the paint, mixing it into a gray, and then loading the paint towards the front and just gliding this color gray in a curve all across. Take off some excess and just smooth it out. And rinse my brush, tap at the bottom, swirl at the bottom of the cup, and kind of tap and dry it off on a piece of paper towel. And back to the mixing board because we're going to get started doing this next chunk of color. So our inspiration has us with a lighter lime green. So if you don't have the lime green, that's okay. You can take green and add a little yellow and add a touch of white. And it'll give you this nice spring limey green. I just took a touch of each of the colors, swirled it on my palette, loaded the paint towards the tip, really bulky, and just glide it from left to right in a curved kind of motion, and just fill in with a smooth curve like so. And then I'm going to work down into this orange mixture, which is going to be, I'm going to mix this yellow with a touch of this pink. If you don't have orange, you can mix the yellow and red also. I just like the tone that this kind of pink and yellow make. So red and yellow, pink and yellow, or if you already have an orange style color, that's what's going to be put in this next section. So I'll mix the paint, kind of take the excess off, and then dip into it, loading the paint on the brush, just like that. And I'm going to start getting as close as I can towards the line and just pull the paint over, using the edge, really using the edge of the brush to kind of line up with the line. So as I get as close as I can to my guideline, I'm just pulling and letting the edge of my brush really follow the drawn line. And same thing, just keep going in the same direction. Tapping as close to the edge and then pressing completely down with a lot of pressure and just pulling the color in one movement. If you see like any lines of paint still there, you want to kind of go over it with full pressure and smooth the color out. And putting pressure and doing that one continuous movement and just smoothing the paint out really gives it a better look, a less streaky look. Again, pulling the paint down, full pressure, really bending the brush and just letting the edge kind of follow the guide as a guide to the line, just making that edge of the brush not past the line, but kind of follow. Full pressure. And then just stand your brush perpendicular just to get into those smaller crevices and just pull softly to fill in the color. I'm just loading the brush a little bit more, tapping close to the edge, and then pressing with full pressure and pulling paint down, and then going over any little bumps with full pressure, just to create a smooth looking area. Just like so, and just light pressure, just getting these smaller areas with light pressure. So full pressure pull here, soft touch and filling down there. And now a little rinse, tapped at the bottom, swirl in a circle, just like so. And get rid of the excess water by just scraping it on the edge of my cup, tapping it a little bit dry. And then we're gonna full blown just get into this real bubblegum pink, loading the brush just like so. And if you don't have pink, you can always go ahead and mix red and white to your liking. Or if you just wanna make this entire picture to your mood and your taste, or to match when you hang up for your home decor, go for it. Definitely use the colors that pull at your heartstrings and make you happy, because there's nothing better when you're walking past one of your works and it just speaks to you and gives you that little bit of dopamine, a little bit of happy feeling. So again, just tap the majority of the paint towards the top, and then with full pressure, bending the bristles really well, just pull the paint through as close to the other side as you can. Full pressure and just pulling the paint through, again, using the edge to kind of follow the line and lift up as you get towards the other side. Tap the majority of the color towards the top, then with full pressure, just pull, full pressure. Might add a little more color, tap, and have it trace this line, tap the color and pull this way. Tap the color as close to the edge and pull this way. Full pressure. Can even go the opposite direction. Full pressure. And then if I'm looking and seeing any grooves or any excess paint, I'm just softly pressing on those bubbles and smoothing it out. Just like so, just softly letting the tip of the brush kind of sweep any wrinkles or bubbles of paint on there, just like so. So again, this is our inspiration, what we got so far. We're gonna head back into this orange color. So when I'm changing colors, I'm making best friends with my water cup, and I'm tapping my brush towards the bottom and swirling in a circle. And then I go ahead and take any excess water off and then tap it on a piece of paper towel or off to the side. Now I have some of that orange mixture still from earlier, but again, if you don't have the orange, you can definitely mix some red and yellow. And I'm just pulling some paint across. Tuck that out of the way. Pulling the paint across. And adding that full pressure really gives uniformity to the area that you're working in. A lot of times you want to lightly add the color, but we really want this to have a bold look. So adding that pressure, really smoothing it out, really makes for a clean look. Okay, same thing, change color. Gonna move over to this left area now. Get into some more grays. Now this shade of gray is a slight bit darker than this shade. You can make it the same shade of gray. You can make it a different shade of gray. The more white you add to your color, the lighter the color is. And of course, it will dry darker. So just get yourself some gray, which is just a white and a little bit of black. Swirl it around. And same concept, take the majority of the paint towards the top and pull, letting the outside of your brush really just follow the line with full pressure, just like so. Pressing this gray into this little corner, loading my brush up a little more, and just following the lines. I'm gonna kind of do the opposite. So I'm gonna load the paint towards the bottom, and now with full pressure, go back the other way. And then softly press over any lumps or bumps that might happen. All right, so now we'll move into some shades of blue. So we got this shade of blue going and this darker shade of blue going. So a good way to, if you have only one color blue, is just add some white or add a little black to your color blue to give it different shades. So right now I have a color already pre-mixed. But again, if you have a shade of blue and you want to stick with that shade first and then add a little white to it, when you move on to the next section, you can do that. But right here I have, it's like a softer powder blue. Same concept, load a lot of paint on the tip of the brush. Still same size, still same flat brush. And I'm going to come into this section. And I'm not going to touch the actual line. I'm just going to load all this paint towards the line as close as possible. And just load, kind of tapping all that paint. And I'm going to now press with full pressure. Lift up when I get close to the line. Press. I'm just pressing over that bulk of paint and just pulling it through with a lot of pressure. Trying to backtrack and get it as close to the guideline as possible. And then pull down, full pressure and pull down. And just follow. Okay, and now I'm going to come down with full pressure and just kind of cut across this way. Add a little more paint to my brush. And let the edge of the brush kind of follow the drawn line. Full pressure. And just pulling across in one big motion. I'm not doing short strokes because it'll just leave a lot of texture. And we're trying to look for a smooth look. So that's why we keep doing the increased pressure and then softly buffing any lines that might happen. Use the edge of the brush to kind of trace the line. And lots of pressure. Again, using the brush with full pressure and just having the edge kind of follow the line. I'm going to reload some paint and just get tap towards the edge, kind of trace and pull. And just move through the area the best you can with the least amount of strokes you can. And just smooth that out. Excellent. So since it's blue, I'm really not going to clean it up. I'm just going to get into the darker color and add that right into the painting. Again, I'm going to bulk up the color towards the edge, as close to the edge as possible. So it's a little tapping at this point, kind of getting as close to the edge as possible. And then with a lot of pressure and pressing down, I'm just going to go in one movement. Come down. I'm going to load some more paint. And just keep pulling in one movement. Lots of pressure. Bend those bristles and pull that paint down. And just load up some more. Now I'm going to come across and just smooth out everything as best I can. All pressure coming across. One big bold line. Not a lot of short strokes, just one big bold line. And moving through like so. Now I have this area that kind of has a lot of paint, so I'm just gonna kind of pull it in. And just go back over it. And then I can always let that dry and add some more of the light paint to kind of really define that line. So again, moving on to another color. Let's check our inspiration. We'll work our way down. Stick with the blues. We have like a turquoise color. So turquoise just means there's a little green mixed in it. So this dark turquoise color is really this dark blue I have. And this color, turquoise. And I did a little dark mixeroo there. Just create a new shade with the color blues. If you don't have the exact, again, add some more white, add a touch of green, not a lot. And you can create a different shade. Not quite different just yet. I'm going to add some more turquoise, a little more dark blue. But really, you're just going for a different shade of the blue. So don't worry if it's not exact. Again, tapping towards the line as much as close as possible, and then pull with one stroke. Tap towards the line as close as possible and pull. Full pressure, pull it over, smooth it out, buff out the lines. When you're ready to change the color, swirl, mix, and dry off. Okay. So now we'll get this little corner back with this powdery blue right below. And just with a gentle touch, just kind of go over the drawn line. Just almost tracing and then pull the color across. Just like so. And now we're going to get into some greens. So we have this green here, which is my lime green color that I have. And I'm just gonna take that. Same style, loading it on the brush towards the front. And then pressing with full pressure to pull that paint across. And just full pressure. Once I tap it across as close to the line as possible, I'm just going to pull that paint across. Now I'm going to go and let the edge of my brush kind of follow the lines in the shape. And we're moving right along. Full pressure, one big stroke, smoothing out any bumps. Standing your brush tall to kind of trace the line over when you get into a smaller spot. On any kind of areas that you see are kind of overlapping, just softly sweep across it to kind of buff those little paint bubbles down like so. So we got this green going on, and our inspiration says the next color around is this light yellow. So how do we get this light yellow happening? Just use a lot of white and a lot of a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to rinse my brush, tap at the bottom, do a swirl. Get a chunk of white happening on my palette and barely touch this color and do a little swirl. Kind of take the excess off and really mix it well. I get this like light yellow happening. And I'm just going to stand the brush tall as I kind of sneak into this thin little area. And try to move the brush while standing so that I'm almost kind of tracing the drawn line just to get in this little tight area. I'm just keeping the brush straight up and coming around what looks like the little bit of crescent moon, and just standing the brush and just following the line with the brush, just like that. Almost tracing the shape again. And I go back over any kind of layers of fake paint and just softly brush over so it just gives it a smooth look, like so. So that is our light yellow. And we're going to work into a darker green. So to make a darker green, I'm just going to add a touch of blue to this lime green. So I'm going to go into this dark blue. I'll use this lime green over here. Just make it a shade of dark green. So I took a little blue with this lime green. If you don't have the lime green, again, that's all right. You can just use a different shade of green. You can also add yellow to the green or add a little white to the green and you'll get a different shade. So I mix, and then I kind of scrape the excess off the edge and I'm pulling it here. And we're going to fill in this little squared off shape next to the yellow. So I'm just tapping close to the edge as possible. And then just pulling down with full pressure. I'm going to let my edge of my brush follow this circle. And kind of do the same thing again. Tap, tap, tap towards the edge. And pull with full pressure going the opposite way. And let the edge of the brush come down in one stroke. And then kind of stand up the brush tall and go over the edges, kind of let the straightness of the brush be your line and you're kind of going over the drawn line. Slightly sweep over any paint bumps that you might see. And we're moving right along. So we're going to tackle this circle now. I'm going to use a turquoise that I have, but if you don't have the exact color, again, feel free to get creative. I'm just going to use the color that I have. And for this, I'm going to just follow the line with the edge of my brush. So I'm putting full pressure and just letting the corner kind of fill out and touch the circle. Back this way now. And I'm going to let the corner just touch the line that I drew. And once it hits the line, I'm just pressing hard and moving it in a circle. Just continuing full pressure and making a circle, just like so. Load the paint. Full pressure and just turning the brush in a circle. Full pressure, turning. And then softly getting rid of any lines or bumps that you might see. Just barely touching and sweeping over the lines. And now we're going to move into 2 shades of purple. So I'm going to clean out my brush again. Again, this is what we're working on now. This is our inspiration. So the next 2 sections are a version of light purple and light pink. So we're going to go ahead and start with those. If you don't have purple, red, and blue, make the purple. If you want to choose another color, again, totally up to you. Sonia Delaunay was all about the bright, bold, complementary colors. So it will not be done out of her style if you choose to do it that way. So a little white, a little purple. Gonna go a long way in this little section. And softly pulling over in one stroke. A lot of pressure and Filling up that section. Just make it hair darker. Scrape off any excess with the edge and kind of load up the brush. And try to pull the color across in one stroke and smooth that like so. And add some white. Now for the next section, definitely needs a little more white. So this is a little softer purple in this next section. And this section as well. Should be a softer purple. I'm just gonna rework this color. It's not as dark as I'd like it to be, so I'm just going to go back with the purple. Okie dokie, so then I'm gonna choose this section to be a dark blue. So I'm gonna go rinse my brush, load some paint, tap across, and press down. Full pressure. Just come across in one stroke. I'm gonna dry my brush off. It's a little wet. Sometimes when your brush is a little wet and you're not drying it out, it does leave the paint looking a little more see-through. So I'm just gonna dry it a little more. Next. So we have our dark blue color there. So back to our inspiration. I'm going to go into this light blue here. Some light blue and purple. And full pressure, pulling paint across, and trying to stand the brush up as I get closer to this corner. Full pressure, one big stroke. And then lightly brush any bumps out. Going to get into some bubblegum pink again. If you don't have the pink, red and white is totally fine. Loading the brush, one big stroke across. Again, when you wash your brush out, you want to make sure that your brush is dried out. You don't want to re-wet the paint too much because it can look too see-through. You want the thickness to be there. And as you pull the color across, you're just putting full pressure. One big smooth stroke. Just like so. And now we're going to use this bubblegum pink to make some more orange. So the pink and yellow are besties. Swirl it around and make this tangerine kind of orange. But again, yellow, red, yellow, and pink will give you a nice shade of orange. And we're going to fill in this bottom circle here. Again, press full pressure and let the corner of your brush just touch the drawn line. And just keep turning your wrist and your brush in a circle. Go the other way. Just like so. And come around. And just keep filling it in like so. And just let the shape of the roundness get filled in. And then if you see any lines, just softly buff them and brush them out with the sweep of the brush. So barely touch. Just like so. And we have a shade of yellow left. And a shade of blue. So I'm going to come back to my inspiration. I actually have a little bit of turquoise. There was a little turquoise in this area, so I'm just going to use a little turquoise to cover up this lavender I had. No big deal, acrylic paint is easy to cover up. With so many lines and shapes, you can really decide what looks good to you. So the freedom is endless. So just filling in that teal there. Put a little blue down here. Just to fill out this bottom. And then last but not least, a little rinse. And getting into this final little section, which is this light yellow color. And the curves are just really creating this idea of some movement happening, which is really what Orphism was, is just abstract circles in motion. And just full pressure yet again. Kind of tracing around the circle and just filling in any empty section. Now's a good time to look over your painting, see any areas that could use another layer. So if it's not looking as smooth as you'd like, definitely rinse your brush well, dry it well, make sure it's not super wet. And then you can go in. I'm going to go back into the circle and load up my brush and just throw on another layer of this turquoise just to give it a smoother look. So go ahead, go look over your painting, see any area that might need another layer. I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a little bit something about Sonia Delaunay and celebrating Women's History Month. She was a spectacular artist. And again, you definitely have seen some of her influence in today's modern textiles and fashion. So I hope you made this as creative as you are. I hope you enjoyed. And again, my name is Erica from Enjoy Erica Art Studio. I have this amazing program every Wednesday. And I'm so glad to share it with you guys. So thank you so much. And as always, if you are an artist, your painting looks good, it looks finished. You smoothed out all the layers. You're happy with it. You're going to take a small, thin liner brush and find the darkest color you got. It could be black. It could be gray. I'm going to take my liner brush. I'm going to dip it in this little black here. And I'm going to do my little swirl technique. So swirl my brush on the side so it leaves a nice little point. And once I love my painting, I'm just going to go ahead on the bottom right-hand side, sign my signature to show that it is complete. So this was our inspiration today. This is what we came up with. Not bad. Nice, colorful, gets you in a good mood when you look at it. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you all so much.